Hi there, I'm Amanda Castor with Material Girl Quilts. Today I'm going to show you how to make this Hexie Christmas tree skirt. Now one of the great things about the hexagon is it's actually perfect for a Christmas tree skirt. And this pattern uses fat quarters, so you can grab your favorite holiday fat quarter bundle and whip this up just in time for Christmas. Now the pattern also includes two different sizes, a 40-inch and a 56-inch tree skirt. And if you are a member of Material Girl Society, you will have access to download that PDF pattern as well as all of the other exclusive content. If you are not a member, please head to my website, materialgirlquilts.com, and click on the membership in the top navigation bar to learn more. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is cut our fat quarters. So depending on which size of tree skirt you're making, it will depend on how many fat quarters you need to cut. But when we cut all of our fat quarters, we're going to cut them the same. So you will lay out your fat quarter so that the 18-inch side, the shorter side, is here on the left, and we're going to cut this to create a straight edge. So I'm just going to cut the selvage off here. And then I'm going to rotate this. And now we are going to cut 4.5-inch wide strips. Okay, now this piece here is your scrap, so that's the fabric that's left over from your fat quarter. We're going to set that aside, and then each of your 4.5-inch strips, we're going to cut into half hexagons. And the reason we're cutting half hexagons is so that we can piece them together without using Y seams. So if we did whole hexagons, we would need to sew Y seams. So this is just a simpler way to piece hexagons. Now my favorite way to cut half hexagons is with this template here. It's the Half Hexie template by Bev McCullough for Flamingo Toes. And this one will create 8-inch hexagons. And I will include a link to this in the video description. So if you would like to get one for yourself. So we will line this template on our 4.5-inch strip. And as you can see, the template is 4.5 inches wide. So we're going to just cut along. I don't think I cut that. There we go. Each side here. And then I also cut these little tips off. As you can see on the template, there's some straight edges there. So once we cut our first half hexagon in the strip, we will rotate the template and cut a second. So for each strip, you will have 2 half hexagons. And then for each fat quarter, you will have a total of 8 half hexagons. Now there is another ruler that I think would be great for this pattern. It's called the Hex and More ruler. And it is perfect if you, it has markings on it for multiple size half hexagons as well as full hexagons, and even some triangles on this other end here. So with this ruler, you can cut from 2.5 inches up to 8.5-inch hexagons. And this particular Christmas tree skirt we are making, these will be 8-inch finished hexagons. So again, you will cut 8 half hexagons from each fat quarter, and I'm going to show you how we lay those out into the Christmas tree skirt. You will lay out your half hexagons to create full hexagons within the design. As you will note, in the 40-inch layout, there are 5 hexagons that create the center column. And in the 56-inch layout, there are a total of 7 hexagons in the center column. Okay, once you have your half hexagons all laid out according to the diagram, I'm going to show you now how to sew those half hexagons together. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew these into rows. And as you can see here, I already have a couple of rows sewn together and at the bottom and top, and I'm going to show you how we're going to piece these rows here. Now, what we're going to do is, if you recall, see, we'll put these right sides together, and if you recall, when I trimmed these half hexagons, I cut off this little tip here so that leaves a point in the corner, and we will line up this point with that point, and they should line up on both ends. And if you do that, then your row will lay perfectly. You'll see it'll be a straight, nice straight row here. If you cut off the tips of your half hexagons like I shown, and sew them like this. So let's go ahead and sew these together. Okay, so there's our completed row. And what we're going to do for pressing on this, we're going to sew, I'll show you on the back side of these rows. We will press the seams in opposite directions, as you can see here, so that when you go to piece the rows together, your seams will nest perfectly. And then for these rows in the middle of the Christmas tree skirt, I went ahead and pressed the seams in between the rows open. But as you get to the rows at the tops and bottoms of the hexagon where they aren't all the same width, as in, for example here, what I did for these is just press towards the shorter row. So like I just pressed towards this one half hexagon here. So now I just need to sew these rows together. So we will go ahead and finish the top of our Christmas tree skirt. And before we can cut the hole in the center for our Christmas tree, we're going to need to quilt this. So go ahead and quilt your Christmas tree skirt as desired, and then I'm going to show you how we can make this fit around our Christmas tree. Okay, so now my quilt top is all completed and quilted. And as you can see, for the quilting design on this one, I decided to do individual snowflakes within each hexagon. So once it's quilted, you're going to go ahead and also trim around the edges of your tree skirt. And now it is time to do what seems a little crazy and also probably a little scary, is we're going to cut a hole directly in the center of our quilt top. So we're going to go to this hexagon right here is the center hexagon for my tree skirt. So we need to, I'm going to go ahead and trace a circle in the center of this hexagon. And this is, you can use anything you have around the house. This is actually just a coaster that I have and from our living room. And so I'm going to, actually I'll probably use a marker just so you can see it a little better, because we're going to be cutting on this line. And we'll add binding over it so it won't matter that it's a marker. So there's our center circle where our tree, Christmas tree, will come through. Now you will choose one side of the circle, and I have decided that if you go in the 4 different directions, as you see in 2 of the directions, since these were half hexagons, there's actually already a seam line. So that makes it nice and easy to be able to cut a straight line across that seam. So that's what we're going to do. So we cut along that seam, and then we're going to cut this circle out. It's I might try with my rotary cutter, but it's probably easier to just do with your scissors, and I think I will do that. Okay, so now you could actually bind this and make a little coaster of it yourself if you'd like. But now that we have the center hole cut out, we need to finish this off with binding. And I highly suggest that you use bias binding for this Christmas tree skirt, given especially this tight curve in the center of the Christmas tree skirt, but also along the angled edges along the outside. And I will link in the video description to a video that I found very helpful on how to do bias binding if you've not done that before. Now, as you can see, I have now finished the binding on my Christmas tree skirt, and I actually attached it using my sewing machine. Normally I hand stitch the binding down, but I wanted to get this done quickly, so I used my machine. But the bias binding works perfect for getting around this tight center circle and around these edges. So I think you're gonna love this tree skirt, and it really does come together really quickly, and it's perfect for you to create for yourself or to gift to someone else. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure you click the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any tutorials going forward. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.